Hey, this is Sandy of Ace Dog Sports, and welcome to the Ace Dog Vlog. And this week, I want to talk about one of my favorite subjects, recalls, or getting your dog to come when called. So, I got to do a lesson today with a young puppy, a 5-month-old puppy. And the lesson got me into a place that I want to go with all of you. And that is, how many pieces of a puzzle are there that you need to put together to have a recall? With every dog I raise, I have fewer and fewer and fewer actual recall training sessions. And that is because I have so many pieces of the puzzle assembled before I need to rely on that recall. So I want to break it all down. And I'm hoping that by doing so, that you may see pieces that you don't have. Because if you're trying to get a recall without some of these pieces, it's going to be way harder. And, I'd like to do this in about 15 minutes, and that's going to be a real challenge. So one place you can go is on my YouTube channel. There's a video called 3 Ways to Get Your Dog to Come Back to You. And those 3 ways are the I Hope You Come routine, which is just a good old-fashioned puppy style, teasing them and running and encouraging them to come. It is soliciting a response. You should expect a specific response that you have pictured in your head, and it's always rewardable. Then there's the name game, and that's using their name in a clear, distinctive way, specific inflection around the house. I play the name game when I've got tidbits for my dog. If I'm, cleaning up plates after dinner, I'll go into another room and say, Fido, Fido, and then build value in just the dog responding to his name. That I call that the name game. And it's a common name for it. I didn't invent it. And then the third way is this formal recall that is used after a step-by-step training process. It has, it's not a game. It's a trained response to a specific command. And the reason I have the other 2 is so that I have ways to encourage my dog to me, to get a hold of my dog, without using that formal recall command in scenarios where the dog is very likely to not comply. So I used to say, if you don't think your dog is going to do it, don't call. And what I ended up with is handlers that the dog is 6, 10, 12, 14 months old, and they tell me they haven't even begun to experiment with off-leash recalls. So now I got to be worried. You know how I worry, right? That the dogs are learning, oh, I comply when I've got the long line on. And that's a fair question for the dog to have, especially if you're playing your cards. Actually, you guys, with dog training, you'll learn how to play your cards just right. You can play them wrong in either direction. You can keep them on the line too long. You can let them off the line too quick. You cannot go back to the line when needed. But this video is going to go into a lot more of the other pieces. So that's just 3 ways to solicit your dog to come back. Those 3 ways are going to be effective based on the other bits. And here they are. 1, how does your dog feel about you reaching for him? If you've got a puppy and you ever, can I emphasize ever, trick them and then pounce on them to snag them? If that's your method of capturing your dog, You're in deep doo-doo, baby. You're in deep doo-doo because you cannot be faster. You gotta be smarter. You just gotta be smarter. So Keep Away is the world's most fun game for every dog. So I love Keep Away. I use it as an asset. I know what you love. Keep Away is a very rewarding tool for me to use with my dog. But I'm not going to play Keep Away when I'm trying to play something else or I'm trying to teach. So if I've inadvertently started a Keep Away game, I might as well just act like that's what I meant, because the challenges and the way we act in a Keep Away game that we didn't want to be in are the essential key elements of the best Keep Away game every dog could ever have. You're between a rock and a hard place if you're trying to grab at a puppy, because what happens is they learn to be faster than the grab. They learn to hang out on the perimeter of your reach. Guess what they're waiting for? You to entice them in. I didn't say invite them in. I mean producing reinforcement. I saw it today. The dog did a little bit of na, 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 you can't catch me. And I said, smile, sweet, invite him in. And the dog went, na, 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 I know what you're trying. And then froze. And the handler said, come get your toy. So for the dog did what would get the dog handler to produce the reinforcement by stalling. And because the dog's excited because he's, finally got his handler in the most fun game of the day, he's animated and it's all going backwards for that handler. So having a dog that does not mind you reaching, that doesn't have a negative opinion, is really important. And guess what? A lot of puppies learn really quick. They're going to pick me up and put me in a crate. They're going to pick me up and give me a bath. They're going to pick me up and mess with my ears and my eyes and my mouth and my nails. So puppies learn, hey, it's not always in my best interest to have your hands on me. So I'll wait till you prove to me that you're not going to do the thing that I think you might do. That's one real good reason to not invite your puppies in and do anything that they would perceive as negative. That's a side tip. So that means you have to teach your puppies young. And if you've got an adult dog, maybe you adopted an adult dog from the shelter, you don't know any of the history, doesn't matter. You still want to really watch for any, I don't really want you to touch me. Think about that. Think about that for a minute. That's a problem of epic proportion, because getting a dog to come in, and I see this all the time too in my lessons, the dog will come in, happy to come in, hang back and get the cookie. But if you reach for them, they're like, keep your cookie. You can have it. So that's why this handling while they're eating, handling while they're playing, hands-on. My dogs don't think twice about my hands on them. They're brainwashed from the minute I get them. It's not about age, guys. I've adopted plenty of adult dogs. So I'm saying puppy because I got puppy on my brain because I just walked out of a lesson. But any dog that I'm handling, if you've dropped your dog off to me right now to babysit it, please don't. I don't offer that service. The first thing I would do is say, it's cool when I reach for you. If I'm reaching for you, you eat, and you eat close to me. Here's another piece of the puzzle. And if you don't leave, you get another one. So this run in, eat, and leave, the dog can't be motivated to get back away from you. That can't be his motivation if you want to have an easy to obtain recall. You want to get that dog used to coming in, not minding to come in because the handling might happen. A lot of dogs don't want to come in because they've already decided they don't want to be handled. They don't want to be picked up. They don't want to be towed around by their collar. There's another piece of the puzzle. If your dog minds being taken by the collar, simple. You got your hand in the collar, that's rewardable. You move him over here, that's rewardable. You change hands in the collar, move him over here, that's rewardable. Your dog doesn't mind you towing him around a little bit. Gently, I didn't say drag. I call it towing because that's what it feels like to me. Don't put too much into that. So once you have a dog that doesn't mind you reaching, doesn't mind your hands on, and doesn't mind is just that's just the tip of the iceberg. Doesn't mind is a beginning layer. Allows it is another layer. Wants it is another layer. Loves it is where I'm headed, baby. I want to scribble on their little butts and just get those dogs when I like, it's time for some loving, that they love to come and get scratches. If I've got that very important piece, there's not incentive to disregard my recalls. Do you see? I have more wanted interactions near my feet that don't get that dog thinking twice about the Rolodex of why don't I want to go in? Something negative is going to happen. The party will be over. She's going to snatch me up. And I didn't know that I actually like that because nobody put the work in to teach me that it's a good thing. Mother Nature told me don't be caught. They come, depending on the breed, Mother Nature's like, don't let something, you come out of your den, don't let a owl snag you. I mean, it makes sense, right? So a puppy or a dog, any dog, horses, they need to be taught. It's called hand shyness. You reach and they duck away, even if it's, so don't take that too far either. And no, not every dog that says I would rather not have you touch me was smacked. And even if they were, that's now the time that they need that lesson even more. Hands are good. Hands feel good. Hands happen when you're doing the things you love. So I got notes here I got to look at. So if you want your dog to want to approach you, that they have to want to approach you. That takes me to another piece of the puzzle, which is, will your dog let you approach them? So this was another thing that happened in the lesson today. The pup was running around my training building. I said, just walk over and get your hands on him. And as soon as she bent and reached, he went, oh, is this game on? And then we quickly realized that the game on meant if he stayed away long enough, she was going to start showing food and toys. I call that show me the money. Like, thank you very much. I'll just dance around out here until you start producing things that I want. So that is not a bad dog. That is a smart dog that is using the gifts Mother Nature gave it. So don't be judging. And it's not just smart. It's not just smart. It was trained. It was systematically trained. The dog could be thinking, boy, I'd sure love to come in, but I'm not going to be sure I can get anything unless I go do this charade back here. Sure wastes a lot of time. I just as soon come in and eat, or come in and get my toy, or come in and get my rubbing and my loving, and then my treat or my toy. So if you have a dog that resents you coming up, well, when they have something, like, does your dog mind if he's chewing a bone? If you come up and rub on him? I have to make that disclaimer. If your dog is a resource guarder, that's an enormously gigantic issue for a professional to help you with. Okay. So we're talking about a dog that's not going to bite over it. If you've got that, we're off of this particular vlog. So if your dog doesn't want you to come to them, what makes you think they're going to want to go to you? So what I'm saying is there's lots of places in life to build value in. Things are great when we're close. Things are great when we're close. And all a recall is an opportunity to get close. So start to notice if there are things that you do where your dog says, I prefer to be over here. I prefer to be over here. Because if you look for all the ways to build value in your dog being by your feet, your recalls are going to be way easier to teach. I also think that to have the type of recall that I need, I want to be able to hike anywhere off leash, and keep my dog safe. So my standards for my recall are a little bit higher than some of my friends. I have a lot of friends that are like, I'm not going to that level of training. I don't want to. It's not my style. I just keep my dog on leash if there's any concern. Fair enough. But I don't want to do that. I want to have an off-leash dog. So my criteria and my training goes to a different place. That means I have a way when I'm training my recalls to let the dog know that a big mistake has just happened. Because, and again, I don't have these problems like I used to. My clients have them a lot. They've taught the dog the initial response, and they have control at a distance. Now, some people don't have that. So that's another piece of the puzzle. Responsiveness at a distance. But just because you have, and this was one of the things my student said today, she's like, because I said, you don't have this, you don't have that, you don't have this. This is all part of the recall. And she said, but I thought my recalls were great. Look, she goes, I have a video, I'll show you. And she had this beautiful response at a park on a long line at a distance. And I was impressed with it. And she'd worked hard to get that. But the puppy had learned to be, because she did a good job, to be responsive at a distance, come in, but not get caught for all those reasons we just talked about. Another thing that's classic is the dog comes in like, full bore, the handles, yay, what a good dog. And I'll take this opportunity right now to remind you that when you're teaching a recall, you should be praising the decision to turn. So you call, they turn, yay, that's it, good job. And the dog is hearing that encouragement, that praise all the way to you. What a lot of people do is they call the dog, they get the response, handler says nothing, the dog comes in, and then the dog goes, oh, I guess you didn't really mean me, and they buzz off. So that's an incomplete recall. Where I was going before I got myself sidetracked was the dog that comes barreling and then just keeps going. Now I'm going to mark that right there. That's where you made a mistake. It just breaks the spell, wakes the dog up, and then go, yeah, your attention's supposed to be on me. That's right. So I can sound a little bit like Jekyll and Hyde, like right track, wrong track, like the hot cold game, and help the dog know the point. Like if I'm rewarding the recall and the dog goes to nick off again, I just interrupted them. And they go, whoa, who, me? Yeah, there were more cookies. There were more cookies right here. You got to hang out until I say go play or okay, and let you know that the recall is over. So I want you really thinking about, when is my recall over? When he snatches the cookies at the end of my arm, when he snatches the cookie and then ducks away from me touching him, like, when is it over? I like to tell my dogs, I'll give them reinforcement, give them another reinforcement. So I'm asking the dog, what do you want to do next? I've just recalled you. I got my hands on you. If they love it, you got to teach that piece first. If your dog has already told you, I don't want your hands on me, and you go to that step every time they come in, they're not going to wanna, right? So having things that the dog wants, a way to reinforce, toys and food, loving, scratching, getting down on the ground as a way to reward, is one piece of the puzzle. Having responsiveness at a distance is another piece of the puzzle. Having a dog that doesn't mind you approaching them is another piece of the puzzle. Having a dog that you have taught systematically to love you reaching. I actually even call that a London Bridges game, where I reach out and I reward the dog super close to my feet for coming under my hand. And then I may touch them or not. And it's built up so slowly, they don't even really know what's happening. They don't know that they're on the way to like, oh, couldn't you touch me so I could have that cookie and that love and that sweet interaction. So again, responsiveness at a distance, a dog that doesn't mind you approaching them, a dog that likes to be near your feet, a dog that is rewarded for not leaving again, a dog that doesn't mind hand in the collar, a dog that has a way to play with you so that these things happen near your feet. Oh, something good happens, something I want to have happen. And the more your dog doesn't like hand in the collar or being approached when he has something or stalls out and waits for you to produce reinforcement, show me the money. You know, they stand out there and they're like, you know, I came this far. When are you going to prove to me that you've got what I want? It's just something that I want you to understand how complex it is or can be for the dog who doesn't have all of the pieces of the puzzle that truly do make up a recall. These things might be in your way. And a lot of people start playing tricks with the dog. They can get the dog's attention and then they do something else to avoid all the other bits, the don't run off again, the taking a hold of them. So each one of those pieces of the puzzle that I just talked about are all training exercises. Some of them, depending on the breed and age of the dog, can be huge projects in themselves. I've had independent puppies where they were born to play keep away, and it took time, and I was all in. I have to have these pieces in order to assemble a recall program that isn't gonna be a drag for both of us. It's not gonna be a fight. So I hope there's something in there that inspires you. Hopefully you'll have some answers to making your recall better or some things to work on. If you need help, let me know. That's what I do. Thanks for watching.